Josh Allen is the best quarterback on the planet, and the Bills are the best team in the NFL right now. Stevie Johnson, tell me I'm wrong.
You're not wrong at all. I'm right there on the wagon with you. Josh Allen's number one, and the Bills are coming for that Super Bowl.
Listen, I would love more than anything to see a Bills-Lions Super Bowl, so I'm riding the Bills to the end.
This is Broken Table, coming off of Bills Chiefs, Stevie Johnson, Tekeyah Singh, and Chiefs fans, before you get after me in the comments, notice that I said right now. Because at this moment, no one's playing better than Josh. He's now the MVP favorite. And the Bills look like the best team in the NFL. I would say the Lions are an argument, as you mentioned. The Lions looked great yesterday. But Stevie, let's start with you. Was that everything you expected from Bills Chiefs yesterday?
Yeah, actually, that was everything that I expected. That was everything I wanted to see. They brought the energy. They brought the fight. They didn't act like the moment was nothing. They wasn't too humble about it. They was locked in and focused. And I was happy to see that. And I feel like, we still was short men. So, I'm looking forward for the rest of the season and seeing a healthy Buffalo Bills team after seeing that domination.
It was everything I thought it was going to be. I knew there was going to be mistakes in the game. There always is mistakes. But the Bills capitalized on the Chiefs' mistakes, whereas usually we're seeing the Chiefs capitalize on the Bills' mistakes. I thought that I was going to be thinking about that missed extra point for the next 2 weeks. I was so nervous about that, but Mahomes' interception turns into points for the Bills. It was an incredible game.
So I was in the stadium and we were kind of just still celebrating the euphoria of that first touchdown that we looked and it's like, hey, how come it just says 6 on the scoreboard? We didn't even notice that he missed the extra point. But to what Stevie's point was, I think that's one of the most important things of Spencer Brown is a huge part of that Bills offensive line. No Spencer Brown yesterday, no Kincaid, no Keon Coleman. And we've talked about it, the Matt Milano practice windows opens, no Matt Milano. If the Bills meet the Chiefs again in the playoffs and they have all of those guys, just what is this Bills team capable of? It seems like sky's the limit because they did that when they had so many key pieces out.
Right. You said it right there, sky's the limit because we didn't even have our full strength. And we seen a guy in Travis Kelce who caught 30 passes in the last 5 games. He was held in check to 1 or 2 catches, 8 yards, and we got an interception while covering Travis. So, that's domination. And we didn't even have our number 1 linebacker in Matt Milano, who has been activated. So I'm proud of what I saw from the boys. This is something that I think everybody kind of somewhat expected from the Bills if things was to be perfect. Early it wasn't perfect when we ran into the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans. Things were still trying to mesh, but we seen things meshing and that wasn't with our main players. So that was a beautiful thing about it.
I think it's amazing that we are missing so many guys, but when we knew Samuel, Cooper, Shakir, all these guys had to step up, but they got high volume reps. So they have the high volume reps. Our guys are going to be coming in from resting or injury. Everyone's going to be healthy. I think we're going to be looking like a really complete team.
And Stevie, maybe you can touch on this perfectly when it comes to Curtis Samuel, because they signed this guy 3 years, $24 million, pretty sizable contract. He put up numbers last year and he didn't really do anything for the first 8 weeks of the season. And now the last 2 weeks, we've really seen him be a key part of this offense. Is that mostly just him sort of getting used to playing with Josh and fit, or has something changed with Curtis Samuel?
You know what? I think it's about getting comfortable, getting in where you fit in. This is something about offenses in the NFL, and what type of players that's on your team. Some teams you have different, I guess, priorities. Maybe you're down in games more. Maybe your offensive coordinator, he likes to just throw deep balls or whatnot. And that's what he was a part of last year with Curtis Samuel. Coming to the Buffalo Bills is a whole different strategy. You got more playmakers, it's more strategic. And then you're also new, so you got to find your way. And I think that's what he was going through. One thing I was worried about his confidence, with the slow start and things happening and him not, I guess, living up to what he probably expected himself to live up to, and us. But after his touchdown, you heard in his interview, he was talking about, once I get in the end zone, I'm going to dance. And you heard that happiness, that confidence still. So, I'm happy to hear about that. I'm happy to be talking about Curtis Samuel in this light as opposed to, him not stepping up to the occasion.
In your experience, does it sometimes take time when you go from like just working with a new quarterback? Is there sometimes like that chemistry just kind of grows as the year kind of builds?
Yeah, the thing is, it depends on the person. If you're one of those guys that can communicate with your quarterback, then you can get over that chemistry hump within what 2 days, maybe even a few hours. I just think back to my time when I went to San Francisco with Colin Kaepernick. I wasn't used to his passes. I wasn't familiar with his speed, and he wasn't familiar with my route running. And that's a dangerous thing when you run routes how I did. So what I did was I just communicated with him on an off day, and it took us about 2 to 3 hours. And from that, things was comfortable. We debriefed, and we understood each other. I don't know Curtis Samuel personally, so I don't know how his relationship with Josh is. It just depends. Maybe he spoke to him, or maybe he's just trying to naturally fit into his place. We'll see how that play out. But I'm just happy to see that he got his touchdown, because that's going to pay dividends for us later on with an asset like Curtis Samuel.
I feel like it's just a luxury now. Once Coleman comes back, Kincaid comes back, and we've talked about it before with Everybody Eats. When Cooper came, everybody slot into the proper place. And then now, Curtis Samuel just seems like a good luxury to have.
Yeah. I think when the Bills have this, they play with this confidence swagger. Like the first two games you saw it, and then they kind of went downhill a little bit. And then Cooper comes in and they have this confidence about them that it's unstoppable. And I guess that's what we saw yesterday. It's what we saw for the past few games. It's why they're 9-2.
And also with Cooper, like you see Josh just dropped one in the bucket, and like Amari Cooper's making these great catches, and you just didn't have that playmaker making those plays. Yeah. And Shakir had another monster game, and it's like Shakir was being asked a lot when he was supposed to be that number one. And now that he no longer has to do that, we're seeing an emergence of Shakir. I'm pretty sure he's first or second in the NFL in Yak. So like,
yes,
I don't know. We're beaming with confidence, and I think a lot of it too comes from the offensive line, because you know whose name we didn't hear at all yesterday? Chris Jones. And I don't know if you guys ever watched the Baldy breakdowns on Twitter, but O'Cyrus Torrence just dominated Chris Jones, and Chris Jones was quiet all game. This Bills offensive line to me looks like one of the best in the NFL.
I don't think Allen got sacked.
Allen had plenty of time, and even on that run, you see O'Cyrus Torrence just move Chris Jones out of the way, and then there's a clear lane for Allen to run. And Jim Nantz called it the play of the year. Like I drove home from the Bills game yesterday. One of my buddies in the back seat must have watched that run 100 times. So
hey, O'Cyrus definitely put his name out there as one of the best up and comers now after a performance like that. Because you're right, we're all used to hearing Jones' name making plays big time throughout each quarter. We only heard it once, and I think that was the fourth quarter, which he's an elite player, so he's gonna, you can only hope to contain him. And that was an amazing job that we saw there. And that's how you beat the Kansas City Chiefs, is you got to control the trenches. And that's the hardest thing to do. But like we was talking about on the buildup, how do you beat the Chiefs? Keep the ball out their hands, clock management. You got to be able to run the ball, even though it's difficult. But like you said, bringing up O'Cyrus and the job that he's done in a lineman, that's where the win came from. It came from the trenches, and I think everybody understands that, or should understand that.
It was a little tough sledding. You mentioned it with the running game. That was my one critique with the game, is that they were a little too predictable with runs on first down. But then when they finally did go play action, and Quentin Morris, the third string tight end, is wide open and Josh just kind of underthrew him, that would be my one complaint. We know the Chiefs were great rush defense. Yeah. We talked about it last week. I just would have liked to see a little more pass to set up the run, as opposed to the predictable James Cook going for 1 yard on first down.
But we're used to seeing the Bills being a run-first offense team, but there was a lot of slinging the ball.
Yeah, Josh threw it 40 times, I think. And we talked about it last week. That was kind of, if they were going to win, Josh Allen needed to have that performance.
Yeah, and he did.
It was a great mix. I felt like it was a great mix. It wasn't perfect, of course, but I think Joe Brady utilized all his weapons in a proper way, as far as getting Josh involved. I think we've been kind of keep it cool, Josh, just handle your business, get into the weapons. But I think that game we saw a preview of what's to come in the playoffs, a dynamic offense. They ran it, they passed it, you know, it was a pretty cool mix for me. And he put the guys in a position. Well, I don't want to say guys. He put Josh in a position to have options, you know, and that was enough for me.
And come playoff time, that versatility will be so important. And yes, like sure, Cook had a tough time running, but inside the 5, he got 2 touchdowns. Like he was running hard and got the big carries when they needed the most. Now the skeptics will say, do it in the playoffs. But we're in November. You can't do it in the playoffs right now. All we can do is do it right now. So can the Bills catch the Chiefs for that 1 seed? They're a game behind and have the tiebreaker. But let's bring up the graphic here. Here's the Chiefs' remaining schedule. At Panthers versus Raiders versus Chargers, at Browns. Then they finish with 3 tough games. Texans at home, at Steelers, at Broncos. Where the Bills bye this week, but this is where it gets tough. Niners at home on Sunday night, at the Rams, at the Lions, and then they finish with a little Patriots, Jets, Patriots, which whatever. Just pencil those as 3 wins right now. Stevie, what do you think? Can the Bills get that 1 seed?
I feel like the Buffalo Bills can get the 1 seed. You know, you gotta bring it. You have to bring it. I think the schedule that the Bills have, they have some teams that you can double look at, but not really though. You know, only the Detroit Lions is a team that kind of strikes me as the team that, you know, we'll see further on. The San Francisco 49ers have been struggling, and they have to come to Buffalo. When you're talking about the LA Rams, I think the Buffalo Bills, they love to come out
Bills
west.
Mafia will be fully out there
and playing SoFi. So I'm not really afraid of any of those teams. It's just about the Buffalo Bills showing up and handling their business. And then, you know, getting that preview, that taste of what's possibly to come, that Ralph Bowl, like Tekeyah was speaking on.
Yeah, I know. I agree. Lions. Do I think they can beat the Lions? Probably not. There's a chance. I'm never going to say no completely. Do I think that they can beat the 49ers? Seahawks just did with CMC back in the lineup.
We'll get to our biggest disappointments in the NFL later in the show, and I'm sure we'll have plenty of takes on the Niners then.
Schedule has been a thing for the Bills since week 1, and they're 9-2, so they're beating teams that people think they weren't able to beat.
Great stat from yesterday. I saw the Chiefs have not allowed 28 or more since the Eagles Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So
that's 30-game streak.
And 30-game streak, no more. Thanks to Josh Allen yesterday. Let's go briefly touch on MVP, because Josh now is the favorite on FanDuel. Going into last week, he was 4-1. Lamar was plus 100. I don't know, whatever. I disagree with that line, but okay, here we are. Stevie, is Josh Allen the MVP?
Right now, yes. I say yes, and I'm thinking a little bit because Jared Goff, he just put up 52 points. You know, the Lions are rolling. We definitely dethroned Patrick Mahomes as far as, you know, who's going to come out on top between Josh and Pat. They still have to play a full season. Lamar Jackson, he obviously got the victory over Josh Allen. However, his team has been, you know, stumbling in the blocks, you know, so we'll see how that play out. Then that just leaves me with Saquon Barkley and Jared Goff now. So right now I got Josh Allen ahead, but, you know, Saquon is right there running behind them heels, and Jared is right there with his Lions.
I think a Goff, as someone who has Allen MVP futures, I think I'm going to do a slight little hedge on Goff, because we know with MVP, a lot of it is narrative. And if the Bills go into Detroit and Goff has a good game and they beat the Bills, then you'll see those, like, that 7-1 Goff odds maybe creep down to like plus 200, plus 150 or something. But let's talk about the Ravens, because if you're Lamar Jackson, you're not winning MVP if you can't win the division. And I don't know what it is with the Steelers. Like, his stats versus the Steelers are atrocious.
Yeah, they're bad.
I don't think he hasn't beaten them since 2019. So Stevie, is that just the Steelers have the recipe on how to defend Lamar, or they just have the personnel to do it, or maybe both? Maybe it's a combo of both.
Yeah, I think it's a combo of both, and you can add in, you know, that division type of games. You know, those are tricky. You know, these guys are familiar with each other. They pretty much draft players to control a division. And I think that's what Coach Tomlin has been doing, you know, with his defenses and the way he controls the game. Not to mention having a quarterback like Russell Wilson who can manage a clock. So Russ Wilson, you got to give props to him. And I just think is a collective thing with that team out there.
Everything Stevie said, those division games are always so weird.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what it is.
Yeah, that was a very classic AFC North game. But are you taking the Steelers seriously?
I was hearing what Tekeyah said about being worried about the Ravens. I am still worried about the Ravens. If they was to make steps and make moves and they played against us after how they did us in this early in the season, the Buffalo Bills, they still have a certain confidence. So it wouldn't matter how their season's been going. They'll come into that game as if, I already dominated these guys. No, let's just do this. So I still have a little bit of worry. So hopefully that the Pittsburgh Steelers can take control of that, because we don't have any history right now with the Pittsburgh Steelers. So that'd be a good matchup for us, But with the Baltimore Ravens, they still have that edge on us. So we'll see how that plays out.
For the Steelers, for the Super Bowl, probably not. For AFC though, for the 1 seed, they're kind of in the running.
They're right there with
us. Russell Wilson though, he couldn't get a touchdown.
That pick was terrible too. That interception late in the game was very bad.
That's definitely a cause for concern.
Yeah.
If you've trips in the red zone and you cannot convert
Empty-handed.
one of them to a touchdown, you won solely by field goals.
Yeah, and missed field goals from Justin Tucker.
Oh gosh, don't get me started on Justin Tucker. Did you see him complaining about field conditions?
No.
Sir, let me hold your hand when I tell you this. Your opposing kicker had 6 for 6 on the same field.
Yeah.
You can't complain, my friend. I think that is user error, okay?
Yeah.
And he's had a rough year.
Yes.
And the Ravens might have to make a decision on him. No, I don't think so this year. He's earned the trust, but if he keeps missing kicks, you're going to lose confidence in that.
That's crazy though, because he was the
most automatic guy in the game.
Automatic, and you wanted to draft him for your fantasy.
Yeah.
He was. What happened to him?
It makes no sense.
Field conditions, I guess.
Stevie, to your point about the Ravens and the Bills, we talked about it before. Styles make fights, and the Ravens, their physicality, they Derrick Henry's as big as some of our defensive linemen, and that's a matchup I do worry about a bit. When it comes to the Steelers, I'm not ready to take them seriously as a contender, just because of exactly what you said, Tekeyah. That red zone offense is ugly. The Russell Wilson interception was awful. I'm not ready to say
Mr.
that
Unlimited is limited.
Yeah, yes, exactly.
Yeah, they're a good team. They're a talented team. I don't know if they're there yet to go into a game against the Buffalo Bills and be like, yeah, we're just going to completely beat the Bills, whether it's at home or away. I think the Buffalo Bills team is too stacked, is too dynamic. And I think at that time when we may possibly play them, we'll be even more healthier than we are now. So
Chiefs and Ravens for me, I don't fear anybody else. When it comes to Pittsburgh, the defense is great, but they don't have the firepower to go toe to toe with the Bills offense, who just proved they can light up one of the best defenses in the NFL. But let's transition to some big disappointments, because there's a lot.
Oh yeah.
And we'll each say our biggest disappointment. And I will start, because to me it's the Niners. That's a game you need to have against Seattle, a team you play pretty well against. You mentioned it before. CMC's back. The Niners kind of look broken, and I don't really know why.
I don't either. I think everyone's division futures just got taken down a notch. They're worried.
That division's wide open. Yeah. You have Arizona's in first, and then everybody else is pretty much 5-5. It doesn't make any sense. Stevie, what's wrong with the Niners?
Man, I do not know that. It seemed like they know their identity. I don't know if they believe in the identity. I don't know what's going on in San Francisco, because when I was watching the game, it seemed like they was pretty flat, and I didn't understand why they came out flat. Maybe they was overconfident. It's something going on there. And I just think they have to wake up. I was going to say that they were, one of my most disappointing teams, but I got love for the faithful, and I'm going to take it down to New Jersey, and I'm going to say with the Jets. That's my most
right there with you, Stevie.
Given all of the media that they was getting, even throughout the season when they pick up Devontae Adams, and then yet you still lose to Anthony Richardson, who just came off of he is energized and fully geeked up, ready to go, because he just sat down. But you had to lead, and then you give it up in the end. So it's not on Rodgers, it's on that complete team. The defense, the offense, special teams, everything in New York is what's disappointing to me right now.
I am 100% there with you. I think disappointment comes from expectation. The expectation for this Jets team was astronomical. From Rex Ryan to Aaron Rodgers himself saying that the team's going to the Super Bowl. Come on. A multi-MVP.
Favorites for the AFC
they
East.
were the favorites in week 1 for the AFC East. How The fall has been so astronomical for me that they have to be the biggest disappointment, like in the entire league, I have to say.
I have a great stat just to put a bow on the Jets being everybody's disappointment. This is winning percentage as Jets starting quarterback. Zach Wilson, 364.
Oh, gosh.
Sam Darnold, 342. Aaron Rodgers, 273 winning percentage as Jets. Stevie's reaction says it all. The fact that this guy has a worse winning percentage than Darnold and Zach Wilson.
It's ugly.
But and they kind of have nowhere to go. They have to go back with Rodgers next year in the same team, it seems. So
they gave themselves. Sorry, go ahead, Stevie.
Just reconstruction. They have to disassemble that team and try to find something that's fitting. We might get players that walk away.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I think we said it a couple weeks ago, Devontae Adams was packing his bags and leaving after he got there. He's doing like the full U-turn. Why would you want to be on that team? Aaron Rodgers has blamed everybody but himself.
Exactly.
Saul is out. Defense got worse. Like, I could go on and on and on about this team.
Well, let's transition then and talk some teams that are kind of on the fence for a potential playoff team. And I was originally, if the Jets would have won, they would have been in this conversation. But we were just talking about biggest disappointments. None of us said the Bengals. Let's go around the horn here. Are the Bengals a playoff team?
I'll say no.
No.
Depending on what time you would have asked me yesterday.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
First half, no. Second half, yes. Fourth quarter, no. And the offense looks amazing. The offense looks like one of the best in the NFL.
Yeah.
But Big Lou's defense is just getting ripped apart. Okay, so let's stick in the AFC here. Dolphins, are they a playoff team? Tekeyah, you start.
No. The AFC East has 10 wins combined. Allen has 9.
Dolphins have looked good lately, though.
Okay, fair. They've got Tua back, and I don't know. I don't think so.
Stevie, Dolphins playoff team?
No, I don't believe so.
Other than the top of the Steelers, Bills, Chiefs, it falls off a cliff.
Yeah, it does.
Right now the Broncos are in the 7th seed, and that would be my last one. Are the Broncos a playoff team?
I would say yeah.
That's a good one. The way they've been playing, I can see them sneaking in. I like them over the Dolphins. I would say yes.
Bo doesn't look terrible, I have to say.
He's creeping up in the rookie of the year odds for sure.
Yeah, he's getting a little bit better, more reps maybe.
So one other shock of mine when we talk disappointments, none of us had the Dallas Cowboys, who play tonight on Monday Night Football against the Texans. Stevie, and I've been wanting to ask you this for a little while now. What is your perception or the league's perception of Jerry Jones and playing for the Cowboys?
I feel like when in my time when we wanted to play against the Cowboys, you always felt like they was getting privileged. They always got the TV time. Everything in the media was about them. So when you go into those games, you have a little more urgency to try to dominate the person across from you. So I feel like that's what a lot of the players feel like going into Jerry's world or Jerryland. They want to wreck the day. And I believe that's what's going to happen. The Houston Texans are going to come in, and the CJ Stroud is going to dominate, the Dallas Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
I think Houston will cover.
Okay.
But Cooper Rush last week was really bad. We've seen Cooper Rush be better than that. And now people are whispering about Trey Lance. And could we see Trey Lance tonight? Which I think Cooper Rush is a lot better than what we saw last week. It was one of the worst passing games in the last 50 years. I don't think we see that again. But if you're the Cowboys, I think you know what you have in Cooper Rush already, and you don't know what you have in Trey Lance. Yeah. So if you lose this game and he looks terrible, wouldn't shock me if we see Trey Lance after that.
Yeah, you're right. Was it last year? It was the Cooper Rush train. Everybody was
high
on the Cooper Rush train. Yeah,
people were saying they were better with Cooper Rush than Dak last year.
Yeah.
So
I think that there's seems to be something internally going on there. CeeDee Lamb's not happy. Jerry Jones doesn't know where the sun or the moon is. There is something wrong internally there. So I don't know. It's definitely going to be a Houston beatdown, I think.
Okay, so let's lead into that then. What do you got for your best bet tonight?
For that reason, I think Joe Mixon touchdown. I think maybe even 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys have allowed 38 points per game so far. It's they're being dominated at home, and it's not even fair. So I think Joe Mixon gets a touchdown.
Stevie, I think you were saying you were going Mixon with your best bet too. What are you looking at his yards?
Indeed, yeah, I'm going with Mixon on the yards over. I think it's showtime, and Mixon is a showtime player on the biggest stage. he's going to show out tonight. So I'm going with Mixon over on the yards.
I'm shocked with how good Joe Mixon has been.
Yeah.
I did not. Usually running backs on their second home, it's not quite there. But he's been a revelation to this Texans offense. And I think if the Texans are going to make noise in the playoffs, which I think they can, it'll be nice to see Nico back tonight.
Yeah.
When Nico caught that touchdown against the Bills, the play where he hurt his hammy on,
Yeah.
their offense looked like they could be going somewhere. And then they've just fallen off a cliff since he's been out. And also the Diggs injury too was really bad.
Yeah.
But I'm excited to see Nico back tonight. But I'm going to go with another receiver for my best bet. And that is CeeDee Lamb. Over 5.5 receptions. I'm not touching the yards. Last week, as bad as Cooper Rush was, Lamb still had 6 catches for only 21 yards, but he averages 5.88 catches a game with Cooper Rush at QB. So I think the 6 catches is a nice safe bet. And you know what? Let's bring up the best bet standings here. We actually hit our parlay last week. All of us 4-0. Everyone nailed it. So I think you want to ride with us again.
Yeah.
On Monday Night Football with those, because I'm going to make this bet as soon as we finish taping. And I will make it as a parlay,
I was just going to say that. I might parlay it.
Yes, exactly. So that's all for us today. Stevie, you know how to play us out.
Hey, guys, remember, simplicity is brilliance. Live, love, laugh, handle biz, have fun, and repeat. One love from the Broken Tables. Peace.